and know a tad bit more about you. You sound like you've had experience in marketing. What have you done in marketing? So you see, I concluded the handling of the objection and moved her back to the step we were on prior to the objection, which in this case was the qualify step. Now let's move into how I handle the 4 most common objections you'll get during the invite call. The first common question objection I want to teach you is the question, what is it? This is the most common of all questions and is actually a good sign. It means the prospect is involved, even if in a doubtful, hesitant way. Often this question objection is given without any real desire to know what it is, but is merely a way to participate in the conversation. The example I'm going to give you would be coming after I've invited them. You normally won't get what is it during the greet or qualify steps because you've really not alluded to a business. I rarely get this question with purchase leads, but will get it frequently when I use the direct approach that I spoke about in the qualifying warm market section. Alright, so I invited John to look at a video I'm going to send him, and then he asked me, what is it? Or, what's it about? John, based on you telling me that you want to get a sailboat and cruise the Caribbean islands, it just reminded me of something I've seen that I think will help you accomplish that. You'll understand once you've seen it. Let me get this out to you. What's your address? And another line would be, I genuinely appreciate your interest in knowing what it is, and if I thought I could summarize it in a few sentences, I would. That clarified the objection and made it valid. However, time-wise, it would be more productive to both of us for you to watch the online movie, then you and I can have a more intelligent conversation about it. Read me the web address I gave you. I want to make sure I gave it to you correctly. That's the way that I handle the what is it objection. The next common objection I want to talk to you about is I'm too busy. The too busy or no time objection is very common. It's the easiest objection for the prospect to throw at you as their reason for not attaining what they need, want, or don't want. Obviously, if you call someone while they're in the middle of bathing their infant, they're too busy to talk with you. So there are certainly times when too busy or no time is legitimate. By contrast, some people just live in the frame of mind that they don't have time, as if someone else is controlling their time. They need your help. The other circumstance in which people use this too busy objection is in a nice way, in their view, of saying no to you. So they are masking an unexpressed objection using time as their mask. The first thing you will need to do with the too busy or no time objection is identify which too busy objection you're dealing with. The way you solve a legitimate time issue, such as they're bathing their infant, is to reschedule and call later. Real simple. The way you solve a frame of mind issue is to ask more questions. I'll give you my script in just a second. And the way you solve an unexpressed objection, you also need to ask more questions. Here's an example of legitimate time too busy. Let's say that you invite your prospect to look at the online movie. Your prospect says he will, but he's heading out of town in the morning and won't have time to look at it before he leaves. In this situation, you simply schedule when he will be back and tell him you'll follow up then. So I say something like this. Oh, no problem. Where are you traveling to? Is it business or pleasure? How long are you going to be gone? All right. So why don't I wait until you get back to send this over to you? You get back on Thursday the 10th? I'll just call you on the 11th. Does that work? Good. Well, have a great trip. So that's the way that I handle that one. Frame of mind too busy. An example of this one would be, let's say my prospect says she wants to do something where she doesn't have to be away from home when her kids return from school. I invite her to look at a DVD and she says she's too busy. I'd say something like, you're too busy? Okay. Just so I don't misunderstand you, when you say you're too busy, what is it that you're too busy for? And to that she replies, I'm too busy to do anything else. My response would be, I understand that one. You feel you want to change something so that you can be at home when your kids come home, but you're so busy with everything in life that you can't do anything else. Is that the way you feel? And she says, exactly. See, I just described her bug exactly, right? That's all that I really did right there. Okay, I'll continue on with what I would say. Well, let's see if we can figure this out, because the risk of not solving this is that it continues another 10 years and your kids will be all grown up. So let's solve it. Everyone has 24 hours, right? Yes. Okay. And that 24 hours can be divided into 3 even columns of 8 hours each. So picture a piece of paper with 3 columns, each having 8 hours. In the column on the left, let's say that that's the sleep column, and we really don't want to mess with that one. You need your sleep. The second or middle column is the work column. And for right now, we probably don't want to mess with that one either. I'm assuming you couldn't just up and quit your job, right? She says correct. Okay, so the right-hand side of this paper would contain the last column of 8 hours. And let's label that column, getting what you want. Can you visualize this? She says, I can. So if what you really want is to not have to go to work so that you can be at home to get your kids off to school in the morning without being rushed and to welcome them home when they get off the bus in the afternoon, then the only place we can pull time from to achieve this goal is the right-hand column. We have 8 hours in that column. Now, and this is the key part, pretend that no one controls that 8 hours but you and your superwoman, and you decide what you do in that 8 hours, and you do it. Can you pretend that with me? Laughing, she says, okay. All right, right now, decide the time that you will take tomorrow to view this movie that can get you what it is that you truly want. Okay, so let's move on to the next too busy objection, which is the too busy masking an unexpressed objection. Let's say that I'm on an invite call and the objection came up about network marketing. I work through the objection and then I invite him to look at the online presentation. He says, you know what, I'm really too busy. Now, is this really a too busy objection? No, because earlier he's given me a need, want, or don't want. Otherwise, I wouldn't have invited him. So he has a need, want, and he's suddenly staring at this big bug, and he calls the big bug too busy? No. He's masking the real objection. You must dig in and surface this unexpressed objection. If I've already spent the time on the MLM objection, then I would probably just try to get him to tell me what his unexpressed objection is. I'd probably say something like, Bob, just so I don't misunderstand you, when you say you're too busy, what is it that you're too busy for? Just too busy to do anything else. Bob, if I'm wrong about this, please tell me, but is there still something that you dislike about network marketing? See, the reason that I would go straight to that is because he's told me a need, want he has. Then he focused on the bug on the windshield about network marketing. I handled that objection, or I thought I handled that objection, but suddenly the time objection appears. So my guess would be that we've not fully handled the MLM objection. Let's do a live call with a sharp lady I met in the gym. She is in project management, and while we were talking, I did a greeting, and I had asked her about her work, and she had expressed dissatisfaction. I think my comment was, are you doing what you've always dreamed of doing? She kind of laughed and replied, hardly. We exchanged business cards, and I'm calling her back. Several times in the gym, she had mentioned time, and then she brings it up on this call a couple of times. So I just decided to have a discussion about time with her. You can listen in.
Hello?
Hello, is this Tisha?
Yes, it is.
Hi, my name is Tim Sales. You and I exchanged business cards the other day after talking in the gym.
Yeah.
Do you remember me?
I do. How are you?
I am good.
Good.
Have I caught you at a bad time?
It's never a good time, but that's all right. Go ahead.
All right. Well, actually, thanks for that, by the way. I'd actually like to pick up on our conversation that we were having at the gym. I was thinking about it afterwards, and I'm just curious if you would have a reason to look at something outside of project management.
With regards to what?
With regards to your goal?
You're talking about me wanting to pursue things that... okay, well, that conversation stems from I have some business pursuits that I'd like to tackle outside of work, but with everything going on, I just haven't had the time to focus on it at all. So I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what it is that you'd like to actually ultimately achieve? If you were to look back and say, you know, when you're 100 years old and say, this is what I accomplished.
Not at all. The ultimate goal for me is I want to own my own business. It's a health spa, and I'd like to, basically ultimately change careers, but obviously there's a lot entailed with bringing a business like that up. So unfortunately, I just don't seem to have the time to get there.
Is time the only barrier that you've got, you feel?
It seems to be. There are others that, play secondary, capital costs and so forth, those types of things, but I think those all come with being able to sit down and solidify, better plans. But ultimately the time is the root cause for me getting anywhere.